Hey guys, Zoe Quinn has broken her silence regarding her role in the Alec Holowka suicide. For those of you who don't remember, because it was a couple of months ago now, Alec Holowka was a video game developer who was accused by Zoe Quinn of sexual abuse and essentially also kidnapping. This resulted in his cancellation. He lost his job, his game's no longer being developed, and this culminated in him being ostracised not only by his friends, people who he loved very deeply, despite having a very difficult relationships with them because he was not very mentally stable, he had a lot of mental issues, he was seen as a weirdo by these so-called friends, and also by his family, if his sister is to be believed. Even she threw him under the bus. This resulted in his eventual suicide, resulting in this cancellation that these indie game devs were about to wage upon other developers, people who they obviously didn't like. There was even a list of people that were going to be cancelled. They had to quickly stop all of that because this suicide made them look bad. And now Zoe Quinn has come out, and well, of course, she's making it all about herself. Marvel Comics writer Zoe Quinn claims to have been on suicide watch and barely functional following criticism regarding Alec Holowka's suicide. Yes, she's a Marvel writer, and also I think she ended up getting a job at DC Comics, even though she'd literally just caused somebody's suicide. Failing upwards, right guys? Marvel and IDW writer Zoe Quinn, who was most recently at the centre of a controversy surrounding her public naming, shaming, and the subsequent suicide of Night in the Woods developer Alec Holowka, recently claimed on Twitter that the fallout from this controversy led to her being placed on suicide watch and she has been barely functional. And as you can see here, the article then points to her Twitter, which is where all these comments came from, because we need to know just what his suicide did to her. Obviously guys, this impacts her the most. Man kills himself, gets cancelled with accusations that are completely unfounded. Women most affected. Zoe Thought Process Quinn states, "God, the depravity of creeps on here never ceases to chip away at my faith in humanity." The irony in that statement is profound because she's literally one of the most depraved human beings in the indie game scene, if not the most depraved. She's the one with the sordid sexual history, the allegations of abuse herself, in fact corroborated. All you have to look at is the evidence that Aaron Joney lists in his Zoe post, which set the stage for Gamergate. He actually has evidence of this abuse, and Alec Holowka himself seemed to suggest that he was abused by her, not Zoe being abused by him. The hypocrisy of flooding my every tweet with constant harassment and trying to push me to suicide because you blame his suicide on me speaking up about my abuser after 8 years of suffering in silence for his other victims who couldn't speak up is just fucking disgusting. Well, why didn't they report him to the police anonymously when the alleged abuses took place? Why didn't you do it? You're the one who's meant to be the strongest, the most powerful, which is very interesting. You're once very powerful and stronger than all these other alleged victims, but you too couldn't report him to the police. It's just, I don't know, it really makes you think, guys. And again, she's trying to make out that he's an abuser and that she was just doing the right thing of setting the bomb on him, causing him to kill himself. You know, so what, he killed himself. I was allegedly abused, guys. I'm trying to kill myself. I'm barely functional, which is very funny because barely functional is literally her life anyway, regardless if this happened or not. She is barely functional and only gets her really good writing gigs and her video game gigs because, you know, she gets in there through unscrupulous means, if you know what I mean, guys. Quinn then attempts to downplay her own actions and turns accusations on her critics. At that point, you're telling on yourselves, if you really do think my tweets, which you didn't ask for retribution or punishment, were capable of killing someone, you're basically admitting that you're trying to kill me with full-on harassment. Wow! This is some borderline shit right here, guys. Firstly, you knew damn well what you were doing. You called for his cancellation. You called for cancel culture to go out there and take him on. You wanted him to lose his job. You wanted to ruin his life. That's why you did that. Why did you write that if you think that retribution wasn't going to happen? You knew what you were doing. You organised this clearly because, again, there were lists of people that were going to be cancelled. You have done this to so many people like Wizard Chan and the fine young capitalists, and it's fucking bonkers, she later says, to use me deactivating my account temporarily because I was on suicide watch the last 2 months as proof of guilt. Yeah, because you always use this as some kind of excuse, as some kind of cushion to protect yourself from criticism. Whether or not you were actually on suicide watch is something that has to be taken with a grain of salt, and I will definitely say I do not believe you because you are a known pathological liar. You were not on suicide watch. You went quiet, as did all of your other cronies, because he killed himself. Your attempt to make a gaming #MeToo movement, which was what that was all about. This is what your friends in the media were constantly going about. This is gaming's #MeToo moment, or rather indie gaming's #MeToo movement, or moment, really. That's what it really was. That's what you guys were building. This in many ways was premeditated. You knew what you were doing. You were purging the community of people you don't like. Because he was also, funnily enough, because, as you probably knew, and as we later found out, he was actually sympathetic to Gamergate because of the things you did to him. All you're proving is why I had to, she says. Half of these nightmare people can't even spell his name right. Don't tell me you gave a shit about him. You can't even spell where right. So don't go on about being unable to pronounce and spell a foreign Eastern European name. Come on, Zoe, that's a bit hypocritical yourself. And we're not proving anything. If anything, you're just proving that you're once again a pathological liar who makes everything about yourself. You just can't live with the fact that you caused somebody's death, which you did. You are a direct reason of him killing himself. If you hadn't done what you did, he wouldn't have killed himself. If he did what he did, which the post-millennial has since found evidence proving the contrary, he actually didn't do anything to you, and it was possibly you, once again, gaslighting and projecting. It was you who was the abuser, and you simply did not like him and wanted to ruin his life. So really, you're proving our point. Quinn had previously announced that her account was deactivated for mental health and security reasons, but at the time did not provide any specifics or details. She wouldn't, would she? Upon her return to Twitter, Quinn stated that despite the mental anguish and reticence caused by the controversy, she would reluctantly return to at least be posting again to promote my work. Though Quinn has since taken to again operating as a general use account, as indicated by her criticising the recent Joker film, and regularly posting pictures of her pets. Despite this return to Twitter form, Quinn has not mentioned the Patreon account she's not updated in over a year, or her failed Kickstarter project, Kickstarted in the Butt, a Chuck Tingle digital adventure, which has not been updated in over a year and has yet to release, despite raising $85,000 in crowdfunding and originally announced for the 2017 release date. It really puts his accusations in a different light now. Is she trying to potentially deflect? To distract, maybe? She then proceeds to demand those who keep bringing up the controversy to stop pissing on Holowka's grave, you ghouls. You ready for this, guys? If you gave a shit, you wouldn't be flying in the face of the family's wishes, or his. It's fucked up to be in a position to call for compassion and respect for someone who fucking low-key kidnapped me, but here I am. Suicide is horrible. Stop pissing on his grave, you ghouls. Really? We're pissing on his grave? You're the one who's making it all about yourself. And his family literally threw him under the bus, or at least his sister did. And their wishes to be left alone, we left them alone. You're not leaving them alone by bringing this up months later in November. Suicide's horrible, unless you're using it, that is, right? You stop pissing on his grave and then projecting it onto us. Maybe then we can get somewhere. Because I've not seen any compassion here. You are literally using him to defend yourself and then still accusing him of all these things that you've yet to prove. If he did what he did, why did you let him continue, allegedly? I'm not going to talk about this again until she needs to because she has to deflect from some other controversy. It's been hell the last few months and I'm barely functional. You've never been functional. I haven't been able to take care of basic biological needs and shit. I highly doubt that considering you literally got a new job as that went on. You've been fine. You're raking in the money as it is. I'm only saying this much because of the confusion of well-meaning people in my replies reacted to the dog piles. Yeah, it's okay when you dogpile all these people I've mentioned, but when you get dogpiled, it's awful. Turning to address the circumstances surrounding Holowka's suicide, Quinn continues to deny any responsibility for her use of a public platform to accuse a man in the court of public opinion contributing to his actions, but I'm not going to be made a fucking example of to discourage people from getting out of abusive situations. If you need to hear it, it's up to a victim of abuse to be the vanguard of their abuser's rehabilitation. Rehabilitation is key, but it's someone else's job. So who reports these people then? If it's not your responsibility, then who is it? Not being reckless with anyone's safety is important to rehabilitation too, but so is understanding that you may not know all the options of a survivor of abuse is available, how many they've tried and how many have failed. Often there's not going to be a clean solution. Yes, there is. It's called going to the police. But again, you're going to make this out that it's all this complex thing that they just can't do. We don't live in Saudi Arabia, Zoe. We live in the West. Police take women's accusations very seriously. The public take them very, very seriously. This is why this man was fired. His friends and family throwing him under the bus and abandoning him and ultimately killing himself. This is why you have been able to ruin Erin Joni's life, Fine Young Capitalist's lives and Wizard Chan's lives. But hey, you know, listen and believe, guys. Listen and believe. And then she concludes saying, grace and mercy are in short fucking supply, but they're exactly what third parties have over the people in any abusive dynamic. People who have abused and people who have been abused need to focus on healing. Anyway, have fun going back to trying to rip me apart for internet points. We'll start poking the lion, Zoe. Start poking the bear, and maybe you won't get bit. And you can go on about grace and mercy. You're the one who unleashed the internet mob upon this man with unsubstantiated accusations. Again, it's just projection. It's always projection with these leftists. And if you really want me dead, stop giving me reasons to live out of spite. Well, we don't want you dead. Nobody wants you dead. You're just projecting that onto us. And anyway, that's the end of the video, guys. What more can I say? It's just borderline personality disorder bullshit from Zoe Quinn as per usual. I'm sick and tired of it. She just does not go away. She will not go away. Even Anita Sarkeesian has kind of gone away. Her YouTube channel is dead. It does not have the reach it used to have. Her last great fame and notoriety came from the VidCon thing, and that was 2 years ago. Since then, she's been silent. But that doesn't mean, of course, she has huge influence behind the scenes. But at least publicly, we're not hearing anything. But Zoe just keeps coming up. And the worst thing about it is that she keeps getting away with it. There's been no justice whatsoever in any of this, not even poetic justice. She continues to lie and deceive, to attack people, ruin their lives, and she seems to just be rewarded with success for it. And it's just really annoying. And it just shows the decadence of this society we're in, where someone like her can be a success, and somebody like Alec Holowka can have his success taken away at the whim of a false or unsubstantiated accusation. As I said, guys, she will get away with it in my last several videos, because I'm blackpilled on this issue. I don't think any of this is going to be solved, because people are simply hardwired to believe this crap, to act out in emotional ways at accusations, especially by a woman. This is what happened to Pro Jared and others like that, and it's only going to continue unless somehow we psychologically change. But we're not going to. See you later, guys.